God is saying that Donald Trump is going to die. President Trump is going to die. They're going to take him out. As soon as he is done doing what they need him to do, they're going to take him out. Dispose of him is the phrase that God is using here. And that's where war is going to come from. Civil war is coming to America, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it, because God says that they have catalysts that they have planned to use, carefully orchestrated events that are guaranteed to produce certain reactions in the population. If Mr. Trump is killed, there's nothing in this world that will prevent people demonstrating in the street, picking up guns, and doing some very horrible things. They're going to get rid of him. Partly because they don't need him anymore. Partly because they know, and I have been saying it since 2020, God was showing me this. They know that if this man decides to stop obeying them for any reason, and he decides to go and be a independent candidate, or he decides to just go off and do his own thing and form his own party and run in another election, they know that there is nothing that they can do to stop him getting votes. He may not be able to get all the votes, but the amount of votes that he commands would make it impossible for any other party to have an unopposed cakewalk to the White House. It will also make it impossible for any other candidate with Republicans to stand and receive the public vote. God says it's impossible to beat Donald Trump, actually. It's impossible to beat him. In a free and a fair election, it's impossible to beat this man. And they know it. And they fear that one day he will not be obedient. They fear that one day he will not listen. And so that's why they're going to take him out of the way. And Kamala Harris is going to have an unimpeded walk to the presidency, an unimpeded walk to the White House. And that's what's going to bring about instability in this nation. I see that America is just so frustrated. I see that, she's just like a person who can't get what she wants. And God says that frustration is part of your punishment for being so sinful and so disobedient and so proud. That frustration that you feel, every last one of you, he says, that frustration that you feel inside, like you just can't get what you want, that things are just not shaping up the way you want, he says, that feeling is what you deserve for pride. That feeling is what you deserve for disobedience. That feeling is what you deserve for thinking that you are a God and that you can work the outcome according to what you want, America. You will not get a single thing that you want. You want a second Trump presidency, you will not get it. You will not receive it. You want free and fair elections. The New World Order will corrupt the elections. God says American elections are going to be more corrupted than you find in third world countries. America loves to go and be an election observer. She loves to go and insert herself into the politics of many nations and say, these elections were fair, these elections were compromised. God says, what a joke. You are about to become the world's biggest and most famous banana republic. People will laugh at how American politics become. People will truly laugh. They will say, is this the nation that ruled the world? And you can't manage your votes? What's happening to the votes? What happened to the ballots, America? These are the questions I hear people asking in the spirit in various accents. Russian accent, French accent, German accent, and the Italians can't even ask anything because they're just laughing. They're drinking wine and they're laughing and watching. The greatest nation in the world, confused at the polls, confused at the ballot boxes. She goes and she thinks she does something, and when she comes out, the results are completely different from what she wanted. Frustration I see, and empty wallets in this country. I see people opening their wallet. Selfer, I just see one or two $1 bills. This is unheard of in a nation that has, across the board, maybe not every person, but across the board, an average, generally, financial security. People are generally financially stable here. People are not starving as it is in some parts of the world. But I see a man opening a wallet and there's just $2 in there. $2, not even $2.50, just two actual dollar bills. And this man is so confused. And this is a picture of what inflation is about to do to people. Inflation is about to make people so poor. If inflation was a person, inflation is about to become the fattest person in America. Inflation is about to gain weight in the American economy and eat up the gains. I hear the Lord saying, eat up the gains, inflation. Eat up the surplus. Eat up the extra. Eat up the whole economy, inflation. Feed until you get fat. Eat up all their reserves. Eat up all that's in their storehouses. Eat up all their extra. Eat it all. Wipe out their gains. Take it all away from them and make them poor. Make them impoverished. This is the punishment for letting mammon rule this country and worshiping money more than God. How you love money. Gold index, silver index. You talk about that more than you talk about the Bible. You love to talk about wealth, increase, storage, finances, savings. God says there will be no savings in America. You will break open those piggy banks. The money that you were saving, young women, God says that the young women in this country, some of them are very smart and they have saved up impressive sums of money. But now I see a woman she's taking a few bills out of a secret savings that she had that she never wanted to touch. She was keeping this savings for something special. I feel bad for this woman because she's feeling pain. She hasn't touched this savings in a long time. The only time she interacts with her savings is to put money into it. A young person has to be this millennial. Yes. She's only been investing in this savings one way, putting money in. But for the first time I see, she has to go to the savings and take money out. She needs it for something. An emergency that has come to her life and she cannot afford to pay it out of her current account. She can't afford it to pay it out of her checking account. It's too big for her to handle and she doesn't want to borrow money from everyone, and so she has to go and open that savings account. And God says this is happening to many people right now. Right now. People are taking money out of piggy banks they said they would never touch. They told their husband, they told their wife, this money is for something separate. This money is for something different. This money is for something special. We're going to keep this for retirement. And now retirement money is being used in this present season to keep many households afloat. And this has brought fear to a lot of older people. I see that old people are having more and more conversations at the dinner table because they thought that they were okay for retirement, but now they have to look at the whole plan. And God says, you have not even started to feel fear. You have not even started to feel worry. I'm going to take away all the extra. I'm going to take away all the gains. I'm going to take away all the savings. And then you will have to look to me. My people know how to trust me. God has been saying this in at least 5 or 6 recent prophecies. He said, my people know me and they know how to trust me. He says, My people know that in a crisis, I can even increase them. I can even make them wealthier than they were before. Look at Egypt. Egypt became bankrupt and Israel became rich. I took away the wealth of the wicked and I stored it up for the righteous. My people who know how to walk through a crisis with me could even come out better on the other side of this than they were before. But if you take my instruction and you heed my voice, you will not suffer. I will look after you. He says, I will look after the very youngest among you. I am tender with children. I will look after the elderly with you. I am tender with the old. I am the Lord. Kamala Harris is going to take this office. That is all I know. That is all I see. I just see this woman walking around with this commander-in-chief banner, this commander-in-chief. I mean, walking with the Secret Service. This is a sight. I'm telling you, they're going to play these images until we will get sick of watching it. We will literally get sick of seeing this loop on CNN and MSNBC and all the BCs. This woman walking to Air Force One, walking up those steps. We're going to see heels in the White House. We're going to see high heels in the White House. America, you will be frustrated. I am telling you, I am feeling frustration, and this is not my physical frustration because these things have nothing to do with me as a Christian. This is not my business. I belong to a separate kingdom, but I'm telling you, this frustration that I feel right now, this feeling that is coming upon me, this is the feeling of you out there who worship and pray to politics. You get your kicks from politics. You're so invested in this false game that has been playing before your eyes since you were a young man that you literally think what you want and what you feel and your views has a thing to do with politics in America. What foolishness is this? That you actually think what you want is what is taking place in the halls of power. These people above your head, that's what God says. They're working at a level above your head. They don't even need feedback from any of us. They make a show, pretense. Can we just have your opinion here? And can you just fill in this survey? How do you feel about this? And how do you feel about that? God says it's masquerade. That's the word. Masquerade. It's a pretense. It's all a show. It's all fake. This is just, well, it's not a surprise. To those who keep their eyes on God, this is no surprise. But to people who actually can't wait for elections, you're just deceived. May the Lord receive the glory for his word. May the Lord take all his glory. This is just a very different time period that we are going into. I just sense it so much. Yes, we're about to see changes and shifts that nobody anticipated. God says the changes that are coming, nobody will see it coming. Yes. He says it will take the pundits by surprise. A pundit is somebody who prides themselves on being an expert. Somebody who prides themselves on being an expert. A pundit is somebody who makes a living out of making predictions. That person tells themselves and they tell other people, you can look to me as an accurate gauge of what will happen. When I'm talking, you should listen because I'm an expert. I went to this school. I studied this subject. I have these qualifications. I can tell you within this much percentage of accuracy what will happen. But God is laughing. God is seated in heaven and laughing at experts because they have no idea that even they are about to become bankrupt. Money experts, they will have no idea of what the money will do. They will have no idea of what the markets will do. They will have no idea on what the global economy will do. Shaking and shuddering, I am telling you, like a train that has just, a train that has just been going too fast. And now the engineer is trying all he can do. He is pulling on the brakes. He is pressing the button. He is trying to slow down the speed of that train. And nothing is going to work. Nothing. All of it is going to be scattered. And there is going to be a crunch. Credit crunch. I don't even know what that means. Severe credit crunch, severe depression, a great depression, worse than the first, worse than the second, a great depression, and worldwide markets just tumbling into chaos. American mismanagement will cause so many people to be absolutely impoverished, completely poor. I mean, you might as well just tear up your checkbook because nothing you could write on a check is going to mean anything. In a few years' time, just like he told us in that prophecy last week, last week, in a few years' time, the landscape of this country will be so different that we will all just be staring at one another in awe, in total incomprehension of what is happening, of what is taking place in front of us. Lord, you are the one. You are just the one. You are the only one. You are the only one who knows. And we have to put our trust in you. Let us stop the call here.